Well, I'm hearing, especially being a female, being a woman,
Oh,
there's
now
a lot
another
of
one.
dogma.
Here we go
Well,
again.
I think it's a little different.
Why?
Well, for one thing, having kids. I mean, it seems to be that there's this timeline involved now. I haven't had them yet, and I want to still. I have to think about things in terms of time.
If we could convince you, if you could come to the place where you could feel timeless and recognize that you are an eternal being here focused, and then you could take that free-flowing spirit that understands that all is well, who understands that you are an eternal being, and then just focus that open, free-feeling, powerful being right here and now, then your here and now would be a joyful moment in time. We know what you're getting at, and we understand how you get there. You've been programmed by others who have worried about it. You've picked up along your physical trail, one piece at a time, a little bit of information that's offered by a mother or by a friend or by an aunt or by a grandmother or by a television or by a book or by a story, and you pick up those little pieces, and then you begin beating that drum. And the drum that you're beating goes something like, time is short, and I don't have much time, and life is big, and I have to really get after it, and I'm wasting time. So many of you feel shortage of time, so much feeling of shortage of time that you don't allow yourself to focus as you really are in the moments. And so when you don't open to who you really are and allow yourself to focus in the moment, then it feels like things that you want keep not coming to you, and that's what gives you the feeling of shortage of time. If you could relax and acknowledge that law of attraction is working with you, and that all through all of this time that you've been living, you've been launching rockets of desire, and source energy is opening avenues to yield to you that which you are wanting, and that in your playful, timeless, I don't have to rush attitude, you can open and become a vibrational match to the allowing. We see so many who are playful in nature, who are abundantly receiving, and others who are working very hard and struggling very hard would say something is really wrong with this, because they believe that the goods should be yielded only to those who struggle and suffer. And we say, law of attraction does not bear that out. It's this feeling of not enough time, or not enough space, or not enough money, or not enough worthiness, or not enough value, not enough something that holds you in a vibration that keeps you from letting in the well-being that you so much want and deserve. But we promise you, it is not about time. It's not about age. It's not about not getting it done in time. It's only about using time or age as your temporary, in this moment, excuse to not allow in the focus or the clarity or the full reception of whatever it is that you are wanting. We have been talking about shortage from the human vantage point for a while. Not enough money or not enoughness, which is just that vibration of focusing upon what is instead of on what is preferred. And we've been saying that if you could take money out of the equation, if you could just focus upon the experience you want to have, or the life you want to have, or the life or experience within the car, or within the home, or within the relationship, if you could focus upon the essence of what you want rather than the dollars, which are the means in which it will come. As you take dollars out of the equation, you will then allow the universe to yield to you profoundly and quickly in ways not experienced before. And now we want to say the same thing to you about time. It is necessary that you take time out of the equation by saying, I'm a timeless being, and everything happens in perfect timing. The only way that we would acknowledge time if we were standing in your physical environment, of course, you want to have time so that you can make appointments, so that you can rendezvous, so that you can have meaningful experiences. But we would talk about time in terms of timing. The only time that we would be aware of is the amount of time that it takes, or how much experience I have between the launching of a desire and the actual fulfillment of it. And that time frame can be easily controlled by you by softening your angst and upping your enthusiasm. In other words, you can shorten the time between where you stand, which may be without something that you want, and the full fulfillment and embracing of it just by concentrating on how good you feel in the meantime. In other words, if in the meantime is a good time, then the meantime will be a short time. But if in the meantime is a time of concern or angst or anxiety or disappointment or guilt or blame or struggle or worry, then the meantime, the time between my saying I want it and the time that I'm actually receiving it fully, you can string that out for a long time. When time is irrelevant, it's all about vibration. It doesn't have anything to do with time. It is only when the vibration is allowed, then it is. Now you look in your physical setting and you say, well, Abraham, how can that be true? It takes 3 minutes to boil an egg. It takes 21 days to hatch a chicken. It takes 9 months to give birth to a human baby. In other words, time is a factor in our physical experience. And we say, there is this natural timing of things. You do live in an environment where there is a buffer of time, but you go far beyond the natural buffer of time in so many things because of your worry. In other words, you don't plant a seed and then go out immediately and start stomping on the ground and say, where are you, corn? I know I've planted you here. Show yourself to me. You expect that that seed will grow and that in its perfect time it will become, and you don't try to rush it. In your physical model, so many of you have measured so many things. You've measured how long it takes the corn to grow, and then all the corn growers want to measure against that standard. And then they say, well, relative to corn, the soil makes a difference. Some soil produces corn faster, or they will say the breed of corn makes a difference, or the amount of water that it's received, or the amount of sunlight that it's received. And so then you begin offering all of these other reasons that it could be a different timing into this. And then the same thing begins to happen. You compare yourself against others who are moving through time. And in all of that, there's a sort of detrimental experience that happens to you where you then begin to judge yourself behind the time, or you judge yourself not getting enough done or not having achieved enough. And all of that is counter to the full receiving of what you want. So let's start right now. Let's begin talking about time in a way that will help you, in a way that supports you. In other words, what is my basic vibrational attitude or mood or vibration relative to the subject of the passing of time? Do you feel optimistic about time or worried and pessimistic about time?
Worried a little.
Everyone understands. Do you feel the expansiveness of time or the pressure and closeness of time? Does the idea of time make you feel open and alive and eager, or does it make you feel pressured and like you've got to find a way to get more done faster?
A little of both, actually.
All right, now take the feeling of expansiveness, since it's a little of both. Let's take that one and talk to us about the expansiveness of time. In other words, describe that to us a little bit. Let's amplify that. Let's start working on making that the active vibration, the dominant active vibration.
Well, I can use everything that has led me to this moment, all the good stuff, in my history. That feels good, that I know a lot now, so that I can move forward more effectively.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? Through all of this, I've picked up so much, and I've sifted through so much contrast that I've come to great clarity about what I want, so my preferences are really sharp and clear. So there was nothing wasted about any of that, because here I stand as this bright, sure-footed, very knowing being that the universe is serving. That's powerful, isn't it? Did you feel how powerful that is? Every time you ask for anything, and by asking, we mean that vibrational preference that is born within you. Every time as you are comparing anything, a preference is born within you that shoots out of you like a little or a big rocket of desire, and every one of them is heard by the universe at large and answered. Can you imagine how much information the universe has about you? In other words, do you realize the power of where you stand? How much information is offered about you, and if you could just stop worrying about not having enough time, and any of the other things that you worry about, then all kinds of things. Isn't this a really good place to be? With so many preferences already decided and a very powerful point of attraction here, isn't this a great place to be in this timeless universe with all of this information offered?
Yeah, I'm very powerful right now because of that.
Are you ever? And would you want to give up any of it? Would you want to erase any of that experience? Would you like to say, 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 37, because with all of those years that you're hacking away off your resume, you're also hacking away preferences, decisions, universe knowing. So now you don't know this, and 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 you don't know this. How far back do you want to go? How much of what you've come to do you want to give up, all for the sake of something that doesn't matter anyway? So now, where's your dominant vibration relative to the subject of time? In other words, we hear Esther saying, I would not trade places with anyone in any time, on any planet, anywhere. In other words, where I am feels so very good to me. I'm so happy about where I stand. And when you get into that place where you really mean that, where you are open to all of the good that the universe can flow to you, and there's a whole lot of it, then time becomes absolutely irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. Because all any of us have is this focus now. If you knew how old you really are, you would understand how wonderful experience is. Oh, how wonderful it is to be this ageless, timeless being in this open, free place. In other words, wouldn't you rather be where you are with all of this knowledge and have the same fresh, childlike, free-feeling openness to expand? In other words, you have great advantages over the children who still have so much more that they're going to discover that they want if you can tap into their feeling of freedom, which is not a difficult thing to do. So now, how do you go about making this newfound feeling that you've just discovered and that we've amplified together your dominant vibration? How do you keep from slipping back into the other? By taking hold of what you just came to, by acknowledging that you know it, and by continuing to talk about it, think about it, talk about it, think about it, talk about it. Tell anyone who comes, watch for every opportunity to express your feeling of appreciation about where you are. If we were standing in your physical shoes, we would literally become ageless. We would not put age upon ourselves, not because we think that there is any stigma in the age, but because so often when you speak of an age, what it does is activate in anyone you're speaking it to all their hang-ups about it. We would be ageless. We would not talk about age. We would not assign ourselves an age, not because we have a hang-up about age, but because most everybody you talk to does. And when you talk about age, their age consciousness is activated, and then you got to deal with it in the vibrational mix that you're dealing with. It would just become a non-issue. Jerry went to have his eyes examined one day, and the nurse wanted to know how old he was, and he said he did not know, and he was serious. He did not know, and she was so angry with him. She just could not believe that he did not know, and she looked at Esther and said, how old is he? And Esther said, I don't know. And Esther was not kidding. She did not know either. Esther played games with her own age so long that when her sister, who was considerably younger, mentioned her age one day, Esther was shocked because her younger sister was older than Esther thought she was. And so then the nurse asked for some documentation that had his age up on it, and he gave it to her. She calculated it, wrote it down, and brought it back for him and said, this is how old you are. Repeat after me. She wanted to teach him the age consciousness that she felt. And they were playful about it. They did not want to go there with her. But what they wanted to say to her, if they'd had time to turn her around, which they certainly didn't have, was, if I tell you how many years I have, then all you will do is assign by your statistics characteristics to me that have nothing to do with me. So then you will begin looking for things that ordinarily would not be there within me as you are grouping me with a whole lot of others that you've already convinced are declining with their age. And I'm not wanting to play that game. Now, we don't encourage you to make a mission of turning your world around. We would just let them play the game they play, and you play the game you play. And the game you are playing is, I'm an ageless consciousness in an ageless body, living joyfully, eternally, and getting as much from this moment in time as is humanly possible because of my lack of concern about anything lackful, like passing of time. So just practice it. You'll get really good at it. You'll come up with so many good things. The whole world may begin to address age differently in response to what you discover about it. Yes.
Thank you.